The sun was not the same as the one we see today. It was larger in the horizon, burning the sky with crimson flames, while the air carried the scent of damp earth and raw wilderness. The land stretched endlessly, covered in golden grasses swaying like an ocean, broken only by scattered acacia trees that clawed at the heavens with twisted branches. This was the world 1.5 million years ago, untamed, dangerous, alive with predators whose roars shook the bones of all who heard them. And among this chaos, a small group of early humans struggled to survive. They were not like us, yet their eyes burned with the same fire of fear and hope. Their bodies were leaner, their movements cautious, every step dictated by the instinct to either hunt or escape being hunted. Among them was a young woman whose beauty was unlike anything her tribe had seen. Her name, whispered in the language of clicks and guttural sounds, meant Moonlight. She had wide eyes that reflected the stars, long dark hair woven with leaves, and a voice that calmed even frightened children when the night was pierced by howls. But beauty in this age was both a blessing and a curse. The men of her tribe, warriors with stone spears and scarred bodies, often watched her with hunger, not just for food, but for the power she symbolized. The elders said she carried the spirit of the earth, that she was destined to bind the tribe to strength. Yet beauty attracted not only men, it attracted beasts. The beast that stalked her was unlike any other. He was the Lion King of the savannah, larger than all lions, his mane blackened at the tips as if fire itself had licked it. His golden eyes glowed even under the moon, and his roar rolled across the plains like thunder. For years he ruled, tearing apart any rival lion, killing hyenas that dared steal from him, even dragging entire buffalo to the ground alone. The humans feared him more than storms, for he had tasted their flesh before. Mothers told stories of how he dragged hunters away, their screams echoing until silence swallowed them. Moonlight first saw him on a dawn when the mist still hugged the ground. She had gone to the river with other women to gather water in hollowed gourds. Her reflection rippled in the current, but behind it, two glowing eyes appeared. The water trembled as the massive lion crouched across the bank. Her heart froze. The other women gasped, clutching each other. The lion did not pounce. He only watched her, as though studying. His chest heaved, and from his throat came a deep growl that was almost like a word. Then, with a flick of his tail, he turned and vanished into the tall grass. But that was not the end. From that day, he followed her. Wherever she went, gathering berries, tending fires, or walking with the hunters, his shadow lingered at the edge of the plain. He never attacked, though the tribe expected it. Instead, his gaze locked only on her, ignoring the others, as if the wilderness itself had decided that this young woman was his chosen prey. The tribe grew restless. Some believed she was cursed, marked by the spirits of beasts. Others whispered that she had been chosen for something greater, that the lion was not just a beast, but a guardian, a god in disguise, who had seen her beauty and wanted her soul. Moonlight herself felt torn. Fear gripped her whenever his roar broke the night, but at times, when their eyes met across the grasslands, she felt an odd calm, as if he was speaking in a language older than fire. Yet survival left no room for strange feelings. One evening, the tribe set out to hunt. The men carried spears tipped with sharpened stone, while women and children waited by the fires. Moonlight joined them, her role to carry wood and keep the flames alive. But the Lion King had been waiting. As the hunters vanished into the distance, silence thickened. Then, suddenly, the grass shuddered. He emerged, massive paws pressed into the dirt, muscles rippling beneath golden fur. His mane glowed in the firelight like burning coals. Children screamed. Women clutched them tightly. Moonlight stood frozen, her gourd slipping from her hand and spilling water into the soil. The beast's eyes locked on her. A growl rumbled like distant thunder. He stepped closer, closer, each movement slow, deliberate, as though savoring the fear he inspired. The women around her shrieked, running for the caves. But Moonlight could not move. She felt his breath, hot and heavy, sweep across her face. Then, the lion's paw struck. It was not a killing blow, but a swipe that knocked her to the ground. Pain seared her arm where his claws grazed, leaving crimson trails. She gasped, scrambling backward, but his jaws opened wide, revealing fangs long enough to pierce through bone. The question burned inside her mind: how do I escape the Lion King's claws? The answer would determine whether her story ended in blood, or became a legend. Her father, the old hunter, had once told her, "A beast sees fear as weakness. If you run, you are prey. If you fight, you are remembered." The words echoed in her ears. Her heart pounded, but instead of crawling away, she forced herself to rise. Her body shook, yet she stood, clutching a burning branch from the fire pit. The lion's eyes narrowed, his growl deepened. Moonlight raised the torch high, the flames dancing wildly, sparks flying into the night. She screamed, not in fear, but in defiance, her voice echoing across the grasslands. The Lion King paused. For the first time, hesitation flickered in his gaze. He snarled, circling her, his tail whipping angrily, but the firelight forced him back a step. Still, his hunger was not gone. He lunged, his claws swiping again. The branch scorched his mane, the smell of burning fur filling the air. He roared, so loud it shook the ground, and leapt away into the darkness. Moonlight collapsed, trembling, her chest heaving with both terror and triumph. She had escaped, this time. But she knew it was not the end. The Lion King had not given up. His roar still echoed, promising that he would return, stronger, angrier. The question was no longer just how to escape him, but how to survive in a world where beauty itself had drawn the most feared beast to her. And deep within her heart, where fear and fascination tangled, Moonlight could not help but wonder, was she destined to destroy the Lion King, or destined to walk beside him as the wilderness demanded? The fire burned low. The tribe returned to find her scarred but alive. The elders gathered, their eyes grave, whispering that the story of Moonlight and the Lion King was only beginning. Because in a land ruled by tooth and claw, escape was never enough. One had to fight, to conquer, or to become prey forever. The night after the attack, Moonlight sat by the fire, her wounded arm wrapped in strips of animal hide. The lion's claws had left deep marks, but it was not the pain that unsettled her. It was the memory of his eyes, burning, unyielding, almost human in their intent. She had faced predators before, hyenas, snakes, even rival tribes. But this was different. The Lion King was not just a beast of hunger. He was something greater, something that seemed bound to her by threads she could neither see nor cut. The elders spoke in hushed tones. He has chosen her, one croaked. No beast chooses a woman, another argued. He wants her blood, nothing more. But the oldest among them, a woman whose hair was white as ash, shook her head slowly. Do you not see? This lion does not kill her when he can. He stalks her, tests her, marks her. This is no hunt. This is a trial. Moonlight clenched her fists. A trial? By whom? For what? Her entire body ached for answers, yet none came. All she knew was that if the Lion King wanted her, he would return. And when he did, she could not depend only on fire. The next days passed in tense silence. The hunters sharpened spears, built barricades of branches, and tried to keep the camp safe. But Moonlight felt the lion's presence long before anyone else did. The way birds scattered suddenly from the trees. The silence that fell over the grasslands. The faint paw prints in the dirt, impossibly large, circling the camp. He was watching, waiting. On the fourth night, when the moon hung low and red as blood, Moonlight could not sleep. Something pulled her from the cave, some force older than fear. She walked barefoot across the dirt, the night air cool on her skin, until she stood at the edge of the firelight. And there he was, the Lion King. His golden mane shimmered under the moon, his amber eyes locked on her as though she were the only living thing in the world. He did not growl, he did not lunge, he only stood, powerful and silent, his breath rising in mist. For a long moment, neither moved. Then Moonlight whispered, though she did not know why me? The lion's tail flicked, his ears twitched, and in his eyes, she thought she saw something terrifying, understanding. But before anything more could happen, a shout rang out. Hunters from her tribe had followed her, spears raised. The lion roared, a deafening sound that shook the air, and in a heartbeat, he vanished back into the tall grass. The men cursed her recklessness, dragging her back into the cave. But Moonlight's mind burned with a dangerous thought. He had not attacked, he had waited. For me. The very next day, fate struck again. The tribe was on the move, migrating toward the hills where water was more plentiful. The men carried spears, the women carried children, and the fire was carried carefully in bundles of smoldering branches. Moonlight walked near the back, her wounded arms still stiff, her eyes scanning the horizon. That was when chaos erupted. From the grasses burst the Lion King, his roar scattering the tribe like leaves in the wind. He lunged not for the men, not for the children, but for her. She screamed, stumbling backward, but before his jaws could close on her, one of the hunters thrust his spear. The tip grazed the lion's shoulder, and he roared in fury. In the chaos, two men were knocked aside, one crushed beneath his massive paw. Blood sprayed the air. "Run, Moonlight," her brother shouted, but she did not. Something inside her snapped. She could not live running forever. She seized a burning branch from the fire bundle and swung it wide. The lion snarled, pacing, circling her, his eyes blazing not with hunger, but with challenge. The hunters hurled more spears, but the beast moved like smoke, avoiding every strike. Then his gaze fell on her again, and she knew this was not just survival anymore. This was a battle for dominance. The beast lunged. Moonlight screamed, thrusting the fire into his mane. Flames leapt, searing fur. The Lion King roared so loudly the ground itself trembled. He struck her down with his paw, sending her sprawling, blood rushing from her lip. The fire flickered out, leaving only smoke. The world blurred. Around her, she heard screams, roars, the clash of stone and claw. She tried to rise, but her body refused. Her vision swam, and then everything went black. Dash dash dash. When she woke, she was not in the camp. She was in a cavern. The air was thick with musk, the scent of predator. Bones littered the ground, antelope, buffalo, even fragments of human skulls. Her heart raced as she sat up, pain stabbing her ribs, and then she saw him. The Lion King lay just a few feet away, his golden body stretched out, his chest rising and falling with each breath. His shoulder bore the wound from the hunter's spear. His mane was scorched where fire had kissed it. But his eyes, those same burning eyes, were open, watching her. She froze. But he did not move. He did not attack. Instead, he lowered his head onto his paws, as though, waiting. Moonlight's mind reeled. He had dragged her here, across the savannah, into his den. Why had he not killed her? Why was she still alive? Trembling, she whispered, "You could end me now. Why don't you?" The lion only blinked, slow and deliberate. Something passed between them then, something unspoken, older than words. She realized with a shiver that this was not merely a hunt. This was something else, a test, a bond, a story that the earth itself demanded to be written. Days passed, she could not escape. His den was high in the cliffs, guarded by his strength. He brought her meat, dropping it before her as he would for his pride. At first, she refused, horrified. But hunger broke her. She ate, and the lion watched. She drank from a pool at the cave's edge, bathed in its cold water, and still he only watched. The fear that once consumed her began to twist into something stranger, an awe, a respect, a realization that perhaps she was meant to stand between two worlds, human and beast. But the world outside did not sleep. Her tribe believed her dead. The hunters swore vengeance. They tracked the lion, found the den, and prepared for war. Spears were sharpened, fire bundles tied. They would storm the cavern and kill the beast once and for all. Moonlight heard their voices one dawn, echoing from the valley below. Her heart leapt. Rescue. Return. Home. But then she looked at the lion. He stood at the mouth of the cave, his mane whipping in the wind, his body scarred yet unbowed. He had not killed her. He had chosen her, and now her people wanted his death. The choice tore at her soul. If she returned to the tribe, she would live as before, but always with the memory of the lion, of the strange bond they shared. If she stayed, she might die, but she would become something greater than human, something remembered in stories forever. The hunters approached. Flames flickered in the night. Spears gleamed. Moonlight stepped forward. Her voice, strong and clear, rang out across the cliffs. "Stop. He is not only a beast. He is my trial, my spirit, my protector." The tribe gasped. The hunters faltered. And the Lion King roared, not a roar of hunger, but of command, shaking the earth, silencing all. That night, firelight painted the cliffs red, and history itself trembled. The woman and the beast stood side by side, and for the first time, humans saw the lion not just as a killer, but as something more. From that moment, stories spread. Some said Moonlight tamed the Lion King and became a queen of the savannah. Others whispered she vanished into the wild with him, her beauty never seen again. But all agreed on one truth. She did not escape the Lion King's claws. She mastered them, and the tale of Beauty and the Beast, born in a world 1.5 million years ago, lived forever in the hearts of those who told stories by firelight, beneath the eternal roar of lions across the plains.